Legacy Maker, the All Sports
The
Network.
place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. And people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I show you my war face. No holds barred, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you'll be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight, cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready, cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey. Burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for another episode of Legacy on Fire, episode 69. Promise you, no hanky-panky, no frisky stuff today on episode 69 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course, airing on the amazing Bowie television in Bowie, Maryland. Look, glad to have you all here with us today as we are about an hour away from the NBA Finals. So we got a lot to get into. It's been a busy time since the last time we were on a couple of weeks ago. So we've got kind of a little bit to catch up on. But of course, as always, with me, my co-host and partner in crime here on Legacy on Fire, Mr. James Brown. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. Back for another week. Shout out to everybody out there tuning in, watching. Hopefully we get y'all another good one here today.
And, of course, joining us again for the first time in over a year, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's my fault, Mr. Shawn Mears, the voice of VA in the building, the coach. Shawn, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate it. JB, what's up? And why has it been a year?
Shame on me, man. That's truly my fault. That's true. But look, like I said before the show, we about to use you and abuse you over the next couple of weeks. But with all that being said, we got a lot to get into. So we're gonna go ahead and start this thing off, ladies and gentlemen, with one sentence. One sentence of the day. We'll start off with some Major League Baseball news. The Negro League, a great league that birthed so many great legends such as Satchel Paige. Even Jackie Robinson played in the Negro Leagues for a little while before he made the debut into the Major League Baseball. Then you got Josh Gibson. So many great legends. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we know that those stats will be integrated into Major League, or have been integrated into Major League Baseball. So there's some new leaders in some categories, and Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige went on and grabbed a couple of those leads in those categories. So with that being said, I want one sentence from you both on the Negro League's stats being added to Major League Baseball. James, I'll start with you first. What's your one sentence on the Negro Leagues getting their shine finally in the stat department?
My one sentence would have to be, paying tribute. Like you said, there were a lot of great players in the Negro League back in the day, and as time moves forward, more and more distance gets put between, when they actually played, when the league folded, and when the merger began. So by adding those names into the baseball MLB stats, it's a way of, making sure those legacies live on, making sure those names live on, and so that, as the future of baseball progresses, more and more people will continue to know those names and carry it throughout the rest of history.
It's a really awesome deal. I was very excited to see it. Shawn, we head to you, man. What are your thoughts on this bad boy? Negro Leagues now being added to Major League Baseball stats. What are your thoughts on it? What's your one sentence?
My one sentence is, what took so long? Well, the Negro League stats, the initial conversation or the initial announcement took place in 2020. With then Major League Baseball having a special advisory committee to introduce the Negro League stats. And now we're getting the announcement that those stats are come final. What happened before 2020? So between 1948 and 2020, those stats just remained inside of Cooperstown, never to be hollowed, for instance. Shameful.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I will say this. My one sentence is it's about time. And I'm really happy that this is happening for guys like Josh Gibson, who a lot of people said was the black Babe Ruth, and then some people said, wait a minute, Babe Ruth was the white Josh Gibson. But just leaving race. I know it's tough because obviously the racial topic or has to do with race, but if you just leave race out of it and just like look at great baseball all the way around, and being able to see Josh Gibson name in those atop of the leaderboard on some of those categories is a pretty good deal for me. Satchel Paige, who I thought was just he was absolutely dominant, and he pitched for like I think he pitched till he was like 60, which is which is crazy. But he did get his chance to be in the majors, so it's just nice to kind of see some of those guys. And then the Negro Leagues get their shine. So I'm very happy to see that happen. Now, for all the haters out there, I will say this real quick because I know you're out there and they're like, why would you do this? You're just trying to make people happy. Look, if you don't think that some of these guys who easily, when they got to the major, started dominating on some levels, didn't deserve their stats, well, hey, that is on you. That is on you. Next on our one sentence, we head to the NFL to talk about the new highest paid receiver in the league, Justin Jefferson. Buku money to stay in Minnesota. And for me, I'm like, well, who will throw on the ball? But I don't really care about that. I don't. Heck, Jamarcus Russell gonna throw on the bar as far as I can. I don't care. Let it be that way. But with that being said, Shawn, I'll start with you first. What's your one sentence on Justin Jefferson resetting the market, becoming the highest paid receiver in the NFL?
I think we're going down a rabbit hole that we soon will regret. I say this to say that Justin Jefferson is 24 years old. He's been in the National Football League for 4 seasons. He's had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and he's accumulated over 5,800 receiving yards in his short time with Minnesota. When does it stop? As you just alluded to, who's going to throw him the ball? So now you have an elite receiver with a rookie quarterback. Are you going to expect him to put up the same type of numbers? Or are we just headed down this rabbit hole to where every year we have a new highest paid player? Deserving or undeserving, you be the judge.
Yeah, that'll be something interesting to see there. I mean, obviously J.J. McCarthy is there, and Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, who's shown glimpses, and then there's been very few, but they've shown
Hold on,
glimpses.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Sam Darnold played on more football teams than I've covered in the area. So.
Well, look, he had that one little stint. I feel like his best stint was in Carolina. Remember in Carolina, like he had that one stretch where he was leading the league in rushing touchdowns, and it was like, and then the Panthers was a 4-0, and then after that he got hurt, and then it just never materialized. They lost like the next 12 games. It's crazy times. But at one point they were 4-0. And they lost that game to Dallas, and after that, we never heard any more from Sam Darnold. But so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays. James, we head to you, man. What is your one sentence on Justin Jefferson resetting the receiver market?
Backing up the Brinks truck. As you said, Justin Jefferson reset the wide receiver market. He's the highest paid player in the NFL per contract, non-quarterback standard at this point. Average annual at $35 million a season. Like Shawn said, he's been off to a great start. I think honestly, yard-wise, this has been the best start for any receiver in the first 4 years of their career. So, he's top guys like Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, who started his career in Minnesota, and Jefferson has beat those numbers and those odds. Granted, we throw the ball a lot more today than we did back in those times when Moss and Rice were playing, but he's had a great start to his career, man. And honestly, I feel, to Shawn's point, how a lot of guys are overpaid and don't deserve it. He's probably one of the few guys where this is the proper payday. He's definitely earned it. I feel he's definitely worthy of it. So glad he got his money. Hopefully he can continue, regardless whether it's Darnold or JJ a quarterback. But if he doesn't pan out trust me, somebody will trade for him at this point. He's got connections around the league. He's got a few different quarterbacks he's played with around the league. And, spots are always open. Stars can always be moved.
Let's just pray that it doesn't end up being in Cincinnati one day, because it could get dangerous. I know I heard that rumor at one point, and if you get Burrow, Jefferson, and Chase together, I know we're just out there. That's just wishful thinking, but it would be very scary times if you can get that trio together. But as for now, he's in Minnesota.
You afford it?
Yeah, right. They don't even want to pay T. Higgins. T. Higgins out here hot. T's like,
if they can afford that, the rest of the team, it's gonna be me, you, and Shawn out there playing on defense.
Nice. I mean,
they ain't gonna have no money.
I might give him a little offensive guard, give him a little something. It ain't gonna be long, probably about 12 to 13 seconds before the knees go. But but we'll see. We'll see. So Justin Jefferson, congratulations on becoming the highest paid man for at least a couple months. Or maybe even a couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Before we move on to our next one sentence, our man Russ Teleferro, stat man, is in the building. He said, "Did someone say stats?" Yes, yes, we did, brother. And shout out to Russ, who made our graphics for our NBA Finals prediction. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Russ also said, "Fun fact: Ty Cobb's daughter got blocked in a Facebook group for defending the stat integration." So that tells you where we are. It's like, it's okay. No, you don't know no better. But my grandpa was the man. No, you ain't trying to hear none of that.
That's
you don't tell me.
Fact.
You don't
great
tell me how to feel.
All
right. We head to our next one. This one has to do a little bit more NFL, and this one's not that. A little bit of a tough one. Commanders kicker, or former kicker at this point, Brandon McManus, was cut because of sexual allegations, a plane ride in Jacksonville that didn't go too well. And so the Commanders kind of gave it a week. And then they decided it's time to cut ties. James, we stay with you. What's your one sentence on McManus getting cut from the Commanders?
My one sentence would have to be, kickers have to walk a thin line. If you're a kicker, if you're a punter, if you're causing issues for any organization off the field, regardless whether it's true or not, we've seen it time and time again, they're going to cut you. You make little to no money when it comes to, salary cap standards. Your money can easily be paid out, a blip on the screen, and they move on. In this situation, if these allegations turn out to be true, definitely horrible. He should definitely be punished for it. But also there's a sense of where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm sure Washington did a little bit of due diligence before up and cutting him to see what exactly is going on here. This apparently happened on a flight last season when he was with the Jaguars, an international flight when the team went over to London or coming back from London, where, he potentially had one too many and made a few people on the plane feel uncomfortable. So, again, kickers got to walk a thin line, man. You don't make enough money to be, to be allowed to do certain things like this. We've seen it time and again where certain guys in the league who perform Sunday in, Sunday out, they make a little bit more money. They get a little bit more leeway, a little bit more rope. Kickers, not so much. So, Hopefully he comes out on the other side of this. If he proves to be innocent and he can still kick, he'll get another job. But for now being, go ahead and take care of those legal trouble, man.
Yeah, man, we saw what happened to the punt guy last year. Shawn, we head to you. What's your one sentence on McManus' situation?
You had the perfect segue, and I'm going to say to JB, whoa, not so fast, JB. So there's a thing in America called innocent until proven guilty, right? So, yes, he had one too many on the flight back from London. He had not one but two women claim sexual assault on that particular flight, which I would like to look a little bit more into the deposition because, again, being around NFL teams like you guys have been around NFL teams, there's security everywhere. So I'd like to look at a little bit more into that. I think maybe the Commanders, with the new ownership, were trying to, just try to save face. But let me give you some stats on Brandon. He won Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos. He spent last year with the Jaguars. He is a career 81.2 career field goal percentage kicker, and he leads the league in touchbacks. So he's a valuable piece to this puzzle. And when you talk about the Commanders coming down to late games with under 3 points scored, the Commanders were in the top 15 in the league in losing games where their kicker could have helped them. So therefore, I think this is one of which, just like the punter in Buffalo, you have to let things play out. Whoa, not so fast.
Yeah, I feel you on that, because it was a crazy thing to me. You know, when it first happened, people was, oh, they gotta get rid of him immediately. I'm like, no. Washington's got to be real smart about this, because we've seen Washington have some really tough situations, especially with this. I mean, the reason why Dan Snyder is not there now is because of this exact thing. I think they did the right thing by investigating it. Coach Quinn said when I was up there on it was yesterday. When I was up there yesterday with Bowie Television, and we were talking to Coach Quinn, or he was talking to the media. He said that, look, we found out about it on March 27th, and they tried to pry a little bit, and they said they did the due diligence and tried to make sure that they did the right thing before they didn't want to just they didn't want to just be like, "Ah, you gone," without giving it some type of thought. I think they did the right thing by doing this that way and taking their time and not rushing to the decision. Buffalo last year said, "Gone." Buffalo didn't waste no time. And now what happened?
And that kid was innocent.
And he was innocent. And that's why I think if Washington, you did the right thing, you outweighed it, you gave it at least a week, and then said, okay, we got to make this move one way or the other. And I agree with you, Shawn. If something goes down, he'll get another job. Those statistics that he has, and he's clean and clear, I think he will get another job in the league. So we will definitely see on that. My man Xavier Jones, this live show is dope. X is a new writer on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, one of our brand new contributors. He's been writing a lot of good stuff. He's going up to UVA this weekend for the Super Regionals, so he'll be up there doing some good stuff there. So that should be fun with
go Hoos.
Yeah, go Hoos all day. Wahoo wah. I'm sorry, I know you don't like that, James. Wahoo wah, baby. But look, you got us on everything else. Let us have this. Can we have this? You got us. You beat us in basketball one game this year. It shouldn't have happened. You beat us in football. We already know how that's going to go. Let this be, man. Let us have this one.
We'll see.
Yeah. Let us have this one. But yeah, Xavier doing a lot of great work. Shout out to him. Also, his brother Arturo, who's been running around like a track star, doing some really good stuff for us. So we appreciate that as well. Russ says, I don't like this guy, Shawn, boss. He's giving too many stats, making me think that I should file for trademark stat man before he does. Russ is a trip, man. Look, yeah, you might want to go ahead and copyright it, my guy. And then Drew Willingham, Satoba Media, our guy Drew. What's up, fellas? Drew, hope everything's going well. I'll be jumping on the air with Drew on Monday for episode 110 of In or Out. So it should be fun.
Drew,
now,
you should have me on, Drew.
You heard that. Shawn said, bring him on. I know you're listening. Bring him and Shawn on. All right, let's go ahead and head to our next one. It is time to go to the fire starters. Let's get this thing going. All right, this one is, boy, I tell you, boy, this has been the biggest topic in sports. You probably said, why did you lead off with this? We wait a little bit, but this has been the biggest topic in sports, and it's Caitlin Clark, CC. No matter what happens, it's something, it's either racially divided or it's this, or, they're picking on it, they're targeting. There's so many different things and so many different people kind of just coming at it in different angles. So, fellas, I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this. So, Shawn, I'm going to start with you first on this one. The Caitlin Clark situation. What are your thoughts about what's been going on with Caitlin Clark here in since the WNBA season started? What are your thoughts on how the league, the players are treating her?
I hate to be that guy, but whoa, not so fast. One, They've played 4 games. What is the whole world overreacting to? A hip check that we've seen in competition forever? What has happened is that her impact has been undeniable. Everyone knows her and Angel Reese, the national championship game was the most watched women's basketball game in history. Yes, she is a complete icon. She is doing everything, but you have to understand these players have been there already and they're doing what they do. Remember when this guy by the name of Michael Jeffrey Jordan came into the league? I'm sure those guys in Detroit and Boston, they weren't anxious to let him just walk into the lane. Those girls aren't just going to let her come into this league and average 30. They're just not. They're competitors too. So I say, whoa, not so fast. Caitlin Clark is a phenom. Hands down. No argument, no doubt. However, not so fast on the putting her on this pedestal. I agree with what one ESPN analyst said, that yes, they should ride the money train because she definitely is the money train. However, this is competition, and I'm not going to let you just come in here and just be Wonder Woman, and you're just going to have me as sliced cheese. I'm not going to do it.
I don't blame you one bit. Hey, James, we head to you, man. Caitlin Clark, the heat continues. When we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, it was just a little bit, but it seems like every day it gets a little bit tougher. And tomorrow she comes to Washington. Capital One Arena going to be loaded. Angel Reese is in Washington tonight. Our man Jaden Golden is out there covering it for the network. They out there getting it in as we speak. So she means a lot to the league, and that arena is going to be crazy tomorrow. But James, what are your thoughts on Caitlin Clark and everything she's got going on right now and the way she's been treated throughout the league so far?
So, I know Shawn said that, she shouldn't be necessarily put on a pedestal, but, he, in another token, said that, she's the money train right now. I don't know about y'all, but I don't leave my money on the floor. My money is up high, tucked away, not left around for others to scrap up and pick up. So, right now they're going to ride it. And, she's the face. She is the one people are tuning in to see, especially this newer demographic, this new crowd that's been attracted and drawn to the WNBA this season and the seasons to come. Now, I don't think she's alone on that pedestal. The way I see it, her and Angel Reese, that story that's carried over from college now into the WNBA, that's what the league should ride. And that's the league's money bag at this point. That's what needs to be protected. I would say my biggest issue lately with Caitlin Clark, going back to the hip check from the game against the Chicago Sky. One, that wasn't a basketball play. I believe they were trying to inbound the ball and she Kennedy Carter hip checks her. Not a basketball play, honestly, a bonehead play where it's like, look, there's enough physicality within the game of basketball where if you wanted to send a message or make a foul, you could have did that in the midst of a basketball play. The way she did it, I don't necessarily agree with. We can move on. But my bigger issue with it is, where the hell were Caitlin's teammates? Where were the teammates at to say, hey, look, we're not going to stand for that. We're not going to take that. Where were her teammates at to back her up? Where's the enforcer for the Fever? And if they don't have one, you need to go get one because your best pieces out here getting bullied.
You better go
That's
get
what
your
they need at this point.
Go get your Draymond Green.
If Caitlin Clark is supposed to be the Steph Curry, go get you a Draymond. Go get you somebody that's going to bully back when these girls come up and pick on her, man. Because if not, they're just going to try to run all over her.
Heck, man.
And it's like, I'm sure she gets her shots in too, but it's like at the same time, you might need somebody else to be like, look, do it again. I'm going to lay you out my damn self.
Hey, better yet, why don't you go just trade for Carter? Bring her over there, because she seemed like she got that Draymond dog in there. If you see in the rap sheet is
she's bounced around a bit, so you never know. She might end up there.
Yeah. I will say this though. So I agree with you, James, on the fact that I thought the hip check was
it's not a basketball play.
You can disguise that in different ways. And then the thing that bothered me the most from it was after the game, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, all right, fine, whatever. But then when she had the nerve to say that what is she really, just a 3-point shooter, is insane talk to me, because I'm just like, okay, but she's averaging, I think, close to 20 points a game. She's
averaging 15, 5, and
15, 5. So she's still averaging 15 points a game, but she's just a 3-point shooter. This is just her first year, and once she gets comfortable, who knows what it can look like down the road. I didn't like that because you just brushed, she's just a 3-point shooter. and she's one of the best 3-point shooters. You don't just say that about Steph Curry. You don't be like, oh, he's just a 3-point shooter. Steph Curry, one of the greatest players of all time. That's crazy talk. So
let me add this, Darrell, if I may. The part that I don't like is the fact that on a certain network, the first 36 minutes of televised program was dedicated to a hip check.
Right.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
It's too much.
That's the thing. I know Monica McNutt caught a lot of, grief from, but she told Steven that you ain't really covered it. Well, I've had Candace Parker in them on. You've had them on, but you don't truly cover it. You're talking about the Lakers. You're talking about the Cowboys. This is a daily thing. And obviously those are the bread and butters, but they're like, you can't say that you completely have been, that person. So it's like the one thing I don't like is it feels like when the WNBA does get publicity, it's always negative. That's something I don't like for the league. And then with Clark kind of being a positive thing, Asia Wilson doing great things out there, that stuff gets buried. It gets buried because you hear all the negative stuff. And then the media just, even us, when we're talking about it right now, but it's the negative stuff. It's never like, yo, man, Asia Wilson's out here doing things that no WNBA player's ever done, averaging 26 and some change and all that. She's looking for another MVP. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about Caitlin Clark getting slung across the floor. So
we're talking about the fact that there are 7 WNBA cities that don't support Pride Month.
Right.
And that to me is almost just like an atrocity if you're going to have a WNBA team in your particular city.
Yeah, you kind of got to think that one through. It's like a no-brainer in that situation. But I'm telling you, man, that's something that they've got to get fixed. Is finding positive things. Our man X says, did y'all see the space between Clark and her teammates at the press conference? It's almost like they don't want her there. And then the coach doesn't know how to. It feels like the coach doesn't know how to handle having a star this big. That's the vibe I get from it too. And they're gonna have to completely reconstruct that team, I think, at one point to fit Caitlin Clark. Now, I wouldn't say get rid of Aaliyah Boston because she's really good. Those two have to become, a dynamic duo.
That's your nucleus.
And then they've got to find the right coach to bring everything along. I know everybody says Don Staley, but I feel like that type of person, that type of coach is what you're going to need to bring in. Like Teresa Witherspoon right now with Chicago, even though their team is probably the most villainous team in the league right now. People are the Chicago Sky, the Hood Rats, so whatever you want to call them. That's what they get called. They have embraced the villain role in Chicago, and that's who they're okay with that, and Reese is okay with that. They're okay with being the villains, and is bringing attention to the WNBA in different ways. So it's just so much, guys. I want to see good things from the league though, and it's been a little bit rough on that. Russ says Matt Barnes said it best. Her teammates are bullying Clark themselves by letting everybody take shots at her. A dirty player is a dirty player. Clark is a dirty player.
Ooh, interesting, Russ.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, she gets her shots in too.
She do.
Hers is usually during the point of play.
Yeah,
usually.
And it's disguised well sometimes, and sometimes it's not, but most of the time she disguises it well. But that's why I say if you're Kennedy, you got to disguise it, Get her on that pick and roll.
Check her going to the basket. Hip check her on a pick and roll to the basket. You can hip check then. Oh, that hard foul.
Yeah, let her go.
And it doesn't even get upgraded to a flagrant one at that point, like they did later in the weekend. At that point, it's just a hard foul. Brush it off. Go play.
Yeah.
But when you do it blatantly like that, it's always going to be exploited.
Now this guy giving TV time stats. Hey, yo, Russ is hilarious. Hey, look.
Hey, shots fired, Russ.
Shawn is
we're gonna have to have a standoff.
He's not a standoff. It's like, dude,
we're gonna have to have a standoff.
We're gonna have to have a standoff, man. It's gonna have to happen. Let's go ahead and head to our next. Let's go ahead and head to our next fire starter, and we stay in the world of women's sports. And this time we talk about the amazing Simone Biles. Simone Biles won, I believe, her 9th world championship over the last week, and she continues to do great things. I'm still sad, fellas. Still sad that she would no longer be on the Green Bay sidelines this offseason. My cousin decided to sign with Chicago, and so now she's gonna be on the Bears sidelines hyping up Kayla Williams and the crew, and it made me sad. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. I wish that Simone Biles was still up there in the cold with us, but she isn't. It is what it is. But with that being said, do you guys feel like she's the greatest female athlete of all time? And if she isn't, who is? Shawn, we head to you first. Is Simone Biles the greatest female athlete of all time?
Whew. When you use the word athlete, it's a tough vertical to stay in. I would say she's the best lady gymnast of our decade. I mean, or of our generation that we've seen. Maybe the best gymnast of all time. As far as going to the word athlete, it's tough because there's a lot more, that goes into that. I would say that she's probably the most decorated athlete of our time, of all time. I had the pleasure of meeting Simone in Mexico in 2022. And phenomenal individual. Took time to sign every autograph that was there. She's a little teeny lady, but she just a ball of energy, and just she lit up the room while we were there. So shout out to Simone.
Yeah. You should have made my cousin stay. Well, that's not even her fault. Green Bay just didn't sign my guy back. Shame on you, Goot. Shame. James, we head to you, man. This Simone Biles, the greatest female athlete of all time.
I don't know if she's the greatest, but to Shawn's point, she's definitely one of the most decorated. I mean, there's so many names. If we go to the Olympics alone with Florence Griffin Joyner, Allison Felix. At one point, the women's 4x1 team for the U.S., all those women, phenomenal athletes. I feel like there's just a whole lot of great Serena Williams, her sister Venus. I mean, I don't know if she's the greatest female athlete of all time. I think she might be one of the greatest female Olympians of all time, though, for sure. And I'm not gonna lie, outside of the Olympics, I don't pay attention to a lot of gymnastics, so she might be very great in that field, but the greatest female athlete of all time, tough call.
It is a tough one. I mean, I do respect her game. For me personally,
when she's on, she's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's hard to go against the greatness. For me though, it's Serena. Personally, like I just love what Serena Williams has done. And what she has done for the game of tennis. I mean, her reflection on the game of tennis is showing right now with players like Coco and Osaka. I don't know Osaka. I don't know if she don't play as much as she was, or she doesn't have as many times as she had been. And but she's won a U.S. Open, and she's kind of changed the game to make it okay for different people to excel. And I just think that what she brought to the game, the same effect that Tiger Woods brought to golf. And so for me, Serena is it. At one point, I thought it was going to be Venus, but then Serena, took that thing by the. My mic ran away. Y'all hear me now? Do you hear me? All right, great. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know, man. This microphone cord be tripping out. But anyway, so shout out to Simone Biles. Congratulations on the 9th championship. Go get that gold in France and make big things happen. All right, y'all. It's time to head to the main flame. We're getting close to the end, and let's hit the main flame. The main flame this time around is all about the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals start tonight at 8:30. I believe it's on ABC. I think it's on ABC. Should be on ABC. The NBA on NBC is not back just yet. We got 2 more years before we hear and I swear to you, I'm get off camera for this. I swear to you, NBC. Don't you dare change that theme song. And if you do, I'm not watching NBC ever again. I don't care what show. I'll watch the reruns on opposite channels like on Fox or the CW, but I refuse to watch NBC. If you changed the greatest sports theme song of all time, I will be highly upset. So don't do it. Just want to throw that out there as a disclaimer. I don't know if that's going to mean anything to you, but it means something to me. With that being said, let's go ahead. We got the NBA final predictions and all that good stuff will be coming our way here soon. But before we get into that, we're going to do our preview of the NBA finals. So, fellas, and I'll start with James. We're finally here. We got the NBA finals. We got Luka and Kyrie versus Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. What are your thoughts on this NBA final as we get ready for the 2024 edition?
So NBA Finals kicks off tonight. Like you said, Mavs will be kicking it off in Boston against the Celtics. This is going to be a great matchup from my perspective. We have a team in Boston who, they're returning back to the finals. Brown, Tatum, the guys got there, a couple years ago, I believe at this point, about 2 seasons ago, to face off against the Golden State Warriors, in which they lost that championship. They lost that chance after, I think, taking an early lead in that series. So, they'll have that experience to lean on. Even though I do think, I think Udoka might have still been the coach at the time, and Mazzulla might have just been his assistants. But, they'll have a little bit more of that experience to lean on heading into this NBA final from a team aspect and team point. Always great to kick it off at home out there in TD Garden. I'm expecting a strong start out of them, but, I think really it'll come down to star power. And, looking at the opposite side for Dallas, man, Luka and Kyrie, definitely 2 stars at this point. Superstars, you can even argue for both, definitely for Luka. But, the brand of basketball I think we're about to see is going to be a little bit magical. Luka, Kyrie can definitely 3-level scores, make magic with the ball in their hands, passing the rock, all of it. So I think this is going to be a very interesting series. I think it might be a little bit of back and forth. I don't foresee any blowout. Definitely not seeing a sweep here or a gentleman's sweep here. We're going to have some interesting games here, possibly some steals on the road by both teams. I'm just looking forward to a great series of basketball, though, man.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun one. Shawn, we head to you. What's your preview of the NBA finals?
I can't wait. Finally, we're here. The music ringing in the back of my head is the final countdown. And I say that for reasons upon which I probably won't really disclose. But one of the reasons I say that is because, it's too much basketball. And I'll talk about that in my final point. But we're finally here. This thing started in October. And so we're looking for a great series. Like JB said, it's immense with star power with Luka and Kyrie, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. On the other side, you have 2 African-American coaches in Jason Kidd and Mazzulla. You have 2 fairly young teams. Jason Tatum's only 25 years old, 26 years old. Jaylen Brown's 27 years old. So, these guys are young, so they expect to be here year after year after year. Like JB said, they were here 2 years ago. So this is something that I will see. I'm anxious to see going forward.
Yeah, I'm very excited about how this is kind of playing out. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Dallas. Dallas was kind of a surprise to me, but not a surprise. And the reason why I say, Dallas, every year Luka has been there, maybe except for maybe I think 1 or 2 of them was kind of light years and they were out in the first round. But up until this year, Luka has seen every round of the playoffs. He's been in the first round, he's been in the second round, he was in the Western Conference Finals, and now he's in the finals. I really think that, that guy is built to be, a lot of people have their, this person is going to be the face of the league. And to me, I just had this vibe that it's going to be Luka. Like, I feel like this is not going to be Luka's first trip to the finals. I was a little skeptical of him and Kyrie coming together to be a team. I remember saying on this show last year, I was like, man, no, this ain't going to work at all. I'm glad they proved me wrong. Kyrie looks like he's having the time of his life. He's enjoying basketball again. There's not all that stupid controversy about whatever was going on. There's no controversy. It's just Kyrie Irving playing great basketball right now. 2016 Kyrie Irving basketball right now, and that's what I like that I'm seeing from them. For me, the Celtics, this is it for you. I know you're like, wait, that's crazy. No. This is the second finals they've been to. They were on the cusp a couple of years ago with Miami, or twice with Miami, and then they didn't get in, and Miami ended up winning. But even with that being said, I feel like the team needs this championship more than Dallas. And I think they needed to kind of get a baby monkey off their back, because if you lose this, that's 2 finals that you lost together. And let's be honest with you, you're not even playing, in some people's eyes, the best team in the West. You have to take advantage. Yes, they're playing the best right now, but leading into that, you could have said the Wolves, you could have said the Nuggets. There's you could have said the Thunder. You're playing the 5th seed. You got to go in there and win that championship this time around. You can't. I'm not saying. I just got to feel it. You can't let it go past. I don't think you can let it go past. So with
not only that,
go ahead.
With this series, man, with the series too, we got a little bit of bad blood and redemption on the line. Looking at it, Kyrie Irving definitely did used to play in Boston. When he left Cleveland, looking for a fresh start, he went to Boston, and that was the team that actually made it to the finals without him. And then when he got back, we saw it fell apart. He ended up leaving, going to Brooklyn. And then on the flip side, the Celtics have Kristaps Porzingis, who actually went to Dallas for a fresh start, paired with Luka, and it went all down the drain. One of these two is going to get to avenge being wrong by the opposite side here,
right,
and prove that, you cut a championship caliber player. So that feeds into it as well. And, I'm just excited. That adds to that excitement, not to mention Jason Kidd. He won his championship with the Dallas Mavericks. Back in, what was that, 09?
Bad times.
09 or 08? Yeah, it was the one you lost. Well, one of the ones you lost, but y'all got something though. You got something to make up for it.
Yeah, they look, we got them in 06. They got us in 11. We should have won that series though, but that's another story. LeBron we're not gonna talk about that. LeBron gave up on that series. D-Wade was playing his butt off. I was sitting. All right, I said I wasn't gonna talk about it. I was sitting in LA and at a bar. Because I was filming a commercial, and I remember watching it, and I'm sitting there like, this mother sucker right here. But anyway, but like I said, besides the point, I really am excited about this series. This is probably the most excited I'm about an NBA series since probably the Toronto and Warriors series. Only before KD got hurt. I really thought that was going to be that it's just different. It was a different series. It wasn't Cleveland and it wasn't the Warriors, but it was a Warriors team looking to continue that legacy. And you had Kawhi and a lot of young players trying to make things happen in Toronto. And Toronto they ain't been the same since. But that's, for me, I think probably the most exciting one we've seen since then. Now, with all that being said, let's give shout out to our man Russ, who had the finals predictions graphics hooked up for us. First, our man Joe D. He's got the Celtics in 6. He's got Jason Tatum being the MVP. Our man Tyrone Montgomery Jr. also has Jason Tatum winning the MVP and the Celtics in 6. One of our resident Legacy on Fire guys, our man Lamont Thomas, has Luka Doncic and the Mavs in 6. So that'll be a fun one. We've got our man Victor Herrera saying, hey, man, I got the Mavs in 5, and Luka being the man, myth, and the legend that he is else. Myself, I've got the Mavs in 7, but I got Kyrie Irving getting that MVP, man. Like, if he plays like he did in that year that Cleveland won it, and that's the vibe that I'm getting from it. I just think that he's gonna give that vibe. James, explain yourself, sir.
So yeah, I have the Mavs in 6 with Luka being my MVP. But like I said, man, this is gonna be a great series with a lot of magical plays, and I feel like Luka and Kyrie, that dynamic backcourt that they have, they're gonna be able to make enough plays down the stretch in those clutch moments where whether it's them making the pass to Derek Lively for an alley-oop, or making a kick out, or a dish for a 3-pointer out to one or each other, or somebody else coming off the bench. I feel like they have that playmaking ability and scoring capability to kind of outscore and outwit a little bit of what Boston's going to try to do. So, that's my prediction. I got the Mavs in 6. Honestly, I'm picking them to roll tonight in game 1 and pick up that early road win in Boston.
Look how scared Julius Randle looks in this picture. Julius, like, I don't want no parts of it, guys. I don't want no parts of him. And last but not least, our special guest, Mr. Shawn Mears. Shawn, explain yourself, sir.
Well, it's quite simple. Every Batman needs a Robin. And if you guys are cartoon enthusiasts, you guys know that it was never Batman. It was always Robin. And in this particular circumstance, there's a reason why Jaylen Brown got the most money in that particular duo. He is the highest paid of that particular tandem. And I think he's earning his money. And you're showing why this kid not only has a NASA internship, but this kid is bright and he's a big-time player. And big-time players with that type of aptitude show up in big-time games. Not diminishing Jason Tatum by any stretch of the imagination, but this will be a series where it'll be highlighted by Jaylen Brown showing off his defensive prowess as well as his ability to score the basketball when it counts.
I love it. I love it. And I will say, so, you hit him with the Batman and the Robin analogy. I was going to say Penny and Inspector Gadget, because if it wasn't for Penny and Brain, Inspector Gadget would be in shambles. My guy was out here clueless. He was out here clueless. So, I mean, we're about to see the Penny and Inspector Gadget narrative going on in Boston.
Hadn't caught up yet.
Yeah. Man, like, just look, as long as they don't, shut the door and blow the bomb up in the Chiefs' face, I think we're gonna be good to go. I think we're gonna be good to go. But also, if you didn't get a chance, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you head back to episode 51 of the Rob Johnson Sports Show, where Rob and our guy Larry, who's been on here multiple times, they did their preview show. So if you get a chance, go back and check that out. And they went a full breakdown of their thoughts and their predictions for the NBA Finals. Well, everybody, that is it for the main flame. It is time to finish this bad boy up. It is time to put out the fire.
Fire, fire, burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
All right, so before we put out this fire, a couple of more comments. Russ says Serena Williams won a major tournament overseas while pregnant. Case closed. Touche, sir. Touche. My homie, one of my former workmates, D-Lo Shuffle. Hello, everyone. They used to call me D-Lo Shuffle. It's a dance, but I can't dance. But it is what it is. Shout out to my DMV peeps. Russ says Mavs titles were in 2011. Stats shot fired. Hashtag stats shots fired. That's funny. Russ, you're a fool, man. And then our man Xavier said, other than the stars for both teams, who do you think will be the X factor for each team? For the Celtics, I got Derek White, and for the Mavs, he's got Lively. Fellas, this is a good one. Shawn, who do you have as the X factors in this one?
I'm gonna go with Drew Holiday, and I'm not sure why he's such an X factor when they brought him in for one reason and one reason only, and that was for his defensive toughness and his ability to show that veteran leadership. And that's why I think Boston will take this game in 7, because somebody has to defend the magician known as Kyrie Irving. And if there's anybody that can try to slow him down, it's Drew Holiday.
I like it. Anybody on the Mavs side, or you just going Celtics on that?
Well, with the Mavs, you would go PJ Washington. He has that little corner three. Xavier, great question, by the way. And it's like, the PJ Washington has that corner three, but he's streaky. And, so it's going to depend on how, he gets that microwave tendency. If he gets a lot of corner pops, then he'll be fine. But if they can see the Celtics' length, and JB alluded to it with Porzingis and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, these guys are long and they are lengthy. And don't forget, old man Al Horford.
Yeah, can't forget old Al Horford. Yeah, I look. It's funny because I guess as long as Brittany Renner's not around, PJ Washington should be fine. James, we head to you, sir.
PJ's moved on.
I know. I'm sorry, PJ. What's your X factor, sir? For the series.
Man, you kind of just
Yeah,
bullied my X factor.
I'm
But
sorry.
I was gonna go with PJ Washington. We've seen throughout the playoffs when he's hitting that dish down corner three, he's been able to hit it at a high clip for most of the playoffs. And we've seen it's been an electrifier times for Dallas and that bench. So PJ Washington would definitely be my guy I would choose as the X factor. But then also, like to Shawn's point, Porzingis coming back, he missed some time in the playoffs. So, he's going to be, working himself back in a little bit. And that could be an opportunity for a guy like Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively to kind of take advantage a little bit. While, especially in Gafford's case, he's a little bit of a smaller player. He's a little bit more athletic, though, and he can definitely sky with some of the best of them. So, I definitely see one of those bigs being more so the X factor for Dallas. On the Boston side, I would have to agree with Shawn as well. Drew Holiday. I mean, that's the reason, like Shawn said, they brought him in. They brought him in for his defensive prowess. We saw what he was able to do in Milwaukee, stopping, the number one guys night in and night out to kind of help propel them to a title. He's looking to do it again in Boston. So those would be my two X factors as well.
I like it. I will say this. I'm going with the former Washington players. I'm going with Porzingis, and I'm going with Gafford. Hey, look, you get a Washington player on your team, you're going. You're in. The last 8 years, a Washington player, a Washington Wizard.
They don't work out in Washington, but they go elsewhere and it works.
So whoever trades for Kuzma this offseason, congratulations, you're going to the NBA Finals. Just going to throw that out there right now. Please. Hey, if you're Kuzma right now, you got to be kicking yourself because he said no to the trade to Dallas because he did not think they were ready. That's funny. But I'm going with Porzingis and Gafford. Gafford really has played some really good ball since coming to Dallas, and I think that if he can handle things on the inside, I agree with you. Whereas I think it's going to be an inside game where the inside is going to really make a big difference in this. And Porzingis for me is like if he can be a hint of the Porzingis that he was even in Washington. And I think that he could be because people, he's hurt. I think he could really do some good things. So, with that being said, but great question. Great question, X. Really appreciate that one. But now it's time to put out the fire. I don't know if who wants to go first. I always like to ask. Shawn wants to go first.
It's been a year. Give him the floor.
Shawn wants it. He gets to go first. Shawn, put out the fire.
Well, since it's NBA final season and in the spirit of NBA finals and the spirit of the NBA draft that comes up after that, let's talk about this. This is what has my soul burning. It's too much basketball. You say, why do you say too much basketball? Well, basketball starts in October and ends in April. That's the regular season. The regular season, the playoffs start in April and end in July. This particular NBA champion will not be crowned until July 1st. With then said, the Olympics and FIBA start. Oh, and not to mention dreaded Summer League, because we got to see what the draft kids are going to do. So what we have now is made basketball a year-round sport. Ladies and gentlemen, it's too much basketball.
Shawn said, I'm over it. I'm done. And not even to mention that the WNBA goes all the way into I think like September, October. So right as the WNBA season goes, guess what? Right back into the NBA season. So I feel you, Shawn. It's definitely needs to be cut down a little bit, in my opinion. But who knows if they'll ever do it? Load management. James, we head to you, sir. Go ahead and put out the fire.
I guess my put out the fire this week is going to be more so related to the NFL. More specifically when it comes to the tampering allegations against the Atlanta Falcons and the Philadelphia Eagles. Supposedly, those determinations are going to be posted at some point this week or early next week. And honestly, who cares? Who honestly gives a rip at this point? In both cases, Kirk Cousins wasn't going back to Minnesota. Saquon Barkley wasn't going back to New York. Those bridges were burned in a sense. And you already give them a legal tampering period. Who cares if they were in town a few days earlier, getting some things worked out or some things looked over? Nobody says anything when Caleb Williams has the Bears playbook since July. or no, since honestly probably February or March. Nobody said anything in years past when we've seen these deals get done way in advance. Some of them get done at the scouting combine year in and year out. Who honestly gives a rip at this point? Why is this being enforced so hard? I tell you what, if the NFL really wants to spend time and money and resources into investigating and bettering things and making it fair for all players across the league, why not invest in a little bit more of the player health on the field? Why not mandate all stadiums should be grass? We've seen time in, time out where players like, hey, AstroTurf, turf fields, they hurt, they get us injured week in, week out. There's a little bit more aches and pains come Monday and Tuesday. Why not invest those time and resources there rather than, this ridiculous tampering allegation that I'm a little bit biased to because it's affecting a team down south that I kind of root and love for. So,
I mean, you just
yeah, who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
who cares about the tampering allegation?
I mean, look, here's the deal. The successor's
Look
already
the
been
other
drafted.
way.
So it doesn't even they don't even care. The successor's already been drafted. So it's just like he wasn't going back to Minnie. They wasn't going to bring him back there. It is what it is. I agree with you. I'm not even mad at you about that one. That's a big deal. All right. So for me, my put out the fire is more of a warning than it is a put out the fire. But Dan Hurley, do not do it. I was going to make this a topic on the show, but I wanted to make sure I saved it for this. I know we're going to elaborate after this, but here's the deal. Look, don't do it. Just don't look. You've got something good going on at UConn. You got back-to-back national championships. I'm going to beat myself up because someone mentioned this to me earlier, and I don't know if I saw it in a Facebook message, and I apologize for not remembering who said it, but they made a really good point. I think it was our guy Paul Schofield, former Legacy Maker Sports Network guy, alumni, and he said this. He was like, "Why, he said, don't do what Chip Kelly did in Oregon, where he had the world at his fingertips, and he left and then went to Philly." And then after that, he's struggling to get back into, to wherever. But he had the world at his fingertips. He had the Oregon powertrain on his side, and he left and went to the NFL, and it just didn't work out. If this was, let's say Hurley was going to Utah, by all means, my guy, go to Utah. I wouldn't even be mad at that. You want to go to Utah, you want to go to one of those small market teams. You want to do what Billy Donovan did initially and went to, the Thunder. Did some pretty decent, solid things there before going to Chicago. If you wanted to make that move as a college coach first and go to that mid-market team where you're not going to get the bright, shining lights on you right off the bat, I would say do it. And you look at this Lakers franchise and your last two coaches, Darvin Ham, who got them in the playoffs back-to-back years. So it's not like they were terrible. I mean, obviously he didn't make the best decisions in the world, but that's one. But Frank Vogel won a championship. He won a championship there. And they're like, nah, we good. He's gone. Every coach LeBron has had, minus my guy, Eric Spoelstra, they get fired. Why put yourself in a situation that if LeBron decides to come back to the Lakers, which he probably more likely will, why would you put yourself in that situation to where you are going to leave this greatness that you got going on at UConn and probably could be there for life, if he wanted to, sign a couple of deals, he'd be set. Why make that move and go to LA? So mine is more of a warning, bro. I'm trying to put the fire out before you get there. You don't want to be the headlines for the next year. You getting blamed for what the players can't do on the floor. I'm telling you now, stay at UConn. Please stay at UConn. Don't do this to yourself, brother. Don't do this to yourself. Let JJ Redick have that job. Nah, don't take it. Let
JJ have it. Let JJ deal with, you got to coach a bad roster. Let JJ deal with, your sets are terrible. Let JJ Redick deal with all the other BS other than the fact that the roster is terrible. It needs to be overhauled. What's your handicap? There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You have an aging phenom. You have a brittle star player. You don't have any good draft picks. Another put out the fire could be the NBA lottery. It's just the whole NBA draft system is just trash at this point.
Trash.
It's ridiculous. We don't even know who the hell is even being drafted that can help.
I
them.
have no.
They're probably going to waste the pick on Bronny anyway. So
I don't even like the way they do the lottery system with the ping pong balls and the chances, and if this team doesn't finish in the top 10,
feels rigged, man. It feels rigged.
It's weird.
It feels rigged. Every year it feels rigged. Like no matter what the situation, it just doesn't feel right. At least in NBA, or not NBA, at least in Major League Baseball, at least in NFL, like, all right, you have a bad year, you're going to get that first pick. It is what it is. The Pirates have had the first pick probably 6 million times. Yet they still haven't been able to win. So it ain't got nothing really doing it anything. So just don't do it. Stay at UConn, continue to win national championships in an era of college basketball where it's hard to win one championship and you don't want back-to-back championships at UConn. UConn is what? If I'm not I'm mistaken, they're 6-0 in national championship games.
Yeah, and he just signed a $36 million contract 1 season ago.
Stay, don't go.
So it's not the money.
Yeah, don't do it.
And I think Connecticut has lower taxes than LA, so man, you keep your money in your pocket, bro.
Yo, man, like I said, don't do it unless it's a mid-market team, Indiana, somebody like that. Just if OKC coach decide to leave, which I don't think that's gonna happen, do that. Just don't go to LA for no reason. Don't go to New York, Chicago. Sorry, James. None of those places. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. That's all I got to say about that. Look. Everybody, we have hit the hour mark. The NBA Finals are starting here soon, so we're going to get out there so you can watch greatness. But before we get off the air, a couple more comments. Russ says, as a Yankees fan, I hate everything. Boston. Barkley was leaving North Jersey the minute the front office chose to extend the quarterback. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Russ.
Exactly.
You don't deserve that punishment out there in New York. You don't. The Daniel Jones treatment is disrespectful. And then this still won't be worst coaching move of the past year. I'm still wondering what Milwaukee was doing when they thought Doc Rivers was a better choice than Adrian Griffin. I'll finish that one for you. Exactly. Stupid. Stupid decisions being made by some of these front office guys. I don't do it, Dan. Don't
Rick
do it.
James said it best. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Touche. Touche. All right, everybody. That is it for episode 69 of this bad boy. And it's been an absolute pleasure. Our man Lamont Thomas will be back on with us next week. Shawn said he coming back next week. I mean, that's the indication I got from earlier part of this show. So it looks like it'll be me, James, Shawn, and Lamont next week to bring you episode 70 of Legacy on Fire. Before we get out of here, James, is there anything you want to say before we go?
As always, I appreciate it. Thanks for another week. Shout out to everybody out there tuning in, watching. And as always, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out all the great stuff we have here at the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Shawn, anything you want to say before we go, brother?
As speaking of the WNBA and as me being a Title IX supporter like I am, and I support all women's sports, I still need to champion the fact that we should be supporting the WNBA. We should be supporting right now the U.S. Field Hockey Championships that are happening right now. Go out and support women's athletics. And for us here locally in the Metro Richmond area, the Henrico Sports and Entertainment Center has signed on to host the A10 women's tournament for the next 3 seasons. So shout out to my man Rob Welsh and the director at the Henrico Sports and Entertainment Center.
Yes, shout out to them. Look, they were amazing to us during the A10 tournament. We broadcast I think we broadcast 11 games there this past year. We got to be there for the media day last year. We'll be there, the next couple of years, it looks like, since they're going to be having the championship here until 26. Very excited about not having to drive far. That's going to be great. I cannot wait to bring more great A10 action. I agree with you 100%, Shawn. Such great teams in the area. There's 3 Virginia teams in the Atlantic 10, and UVA, VCU, and Richmond, I feel like are going to just be butting heads over the next couple of years. Great coaches and Coach Bethel Boyle and Coach Aaron Russell. So I'm excited. That's a good one, though, Shawn. Really good one. Last thing I'm going to say before we get out of here, shout out to all the shows. Make sure y'all check out our man Rob Johnson and the Rob Johnson Sports Show. That is happening. That happens on Sundays. He has our guy Larry Patterson on there, who Larry also come on here. If you want to check out their recap of the NBA Finals just before this bad boy started, go hit them up. Our girl Becca Cottingham, Monster Minutes, just had one of her biggest shows yet last week. Big numbers last week. So shout out to Becca and the amazing job that she continues to do. And just shout out to everybody on the team, all the greatness we got going around. So proud of everybody. Let's keep rocking and rolling that thing on all fronts. And then last but not least, like I said earlier, I'll be on with our guy Drew Willingham on Monday for the In or Out Sports Debate. And then 101, y'all, will return in July. I'm still getting the guest list compiled together for that bad boy, but that'll be returning in July. I'm tired of talking now. You guys go enjoy the NBA Finals. We'll be back for next week, an update on the NBA Finals and episode 70 of Legacy on Fire. Until next time.